What's up, YouTube? I'm Brett from Rants. As always, guys, if y'all enjoy our content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave that comment down below. We're on the road to 1,000. We hope you guys can help us get there. Alright, so I come across a really interesting article on CBR that I just wanted to read to y'all, wanted to get y'all's thoughts, and I wanted to tell y'all my thoughts on it. And it's, should the MCU die? A lot of Marvel fans out there are crying out, no. No way it should die. Why, when we've had, 26 movies of this, and it's all been a success. It's completely changed the world when it comes to superhero movies. It's made them legit. It's made people interested in them. Why would you want to change that? Well, before I get in the reason why I believe they should change it, let me go ahead and read y'all this article real quick, because I think it does make some really good points. It says, in the world of comics from which the MCU draws its inspiration, occasional continuity reboots are fairly commonplace. Sometimes these are in-universe events that leave a lasting mark on the hero's world. Other times, entire universes are overhauled and relaunched from scratch. The Marvel Universe has seen its fair share of both forms of reboot, with events like Infinity shifting the status quo, while 2015's Secret Wars saw the Marvel multiverse annihilated and replaced with a brand new patchwork reality. Now it could be time for the MCU to follow suit. Avengers Endgame saw Tony Stark and Natasha Romanoff meet their respective demises. Steve Rogers time travels his way to old age and retirement. Thor, who's Chris Hemsworth, leaves Earth for a bit of soul searching, and the Hulk turns into more of a thinker than a brawler. In the wake of this, it's fair to say the MCU is already going through something of a soft reboot. Newer heroes are coming to the foray. Old mantles are being passed on. Sam Wilson has abandoned the Falcon moniker to become Captain America, while Jane Foster is set to become the new Thor in this year's Thor: Love and Thunder. And the MCU's horizons are moving beyond the schemes of Thanos. While all of this makes the MCU's Phase 4 a good jumping on point for new audiences, it could also be a good time for a more dramatic overhaul of Marvel's on-screen continuity. Now, again, a lot of people are going to be like, hey, why would you want to change this? It's worked. And I really do get it, guys. I get it. Why would you want to change something that's been so popular? I mean, broken so many box office records. Why would you want to change it? But if you don't have Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, you have nothing. You have nothing. You put anybody, and I will say this: if you put anybody in Robert Downey, in Iron Man's shoes as Tony Stark, those Iron Man movies probably tank. There probably wouldn't be an MCU. It's just they happen to, find this amazing cast, and cast Robert Downey Jr. in this part. And who would have thought Robert Downey Jr. would be the perfect person to play that role? But he did a great job of it. As far as Steve Rogers is concerned, I mean, you cannot tell me going forward that you really think that Sam Wilson is going to be a legit Captain America. I mean, yes, you can say, well, in the comic books, they've taken up that role, and that's true. Other people have taken up the mantle of Captain America. But at the end of the day, what do people always call for? Steve Rogers. You saw it in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. There was all those rumors that was going on. Steve Rogers going to appear. Where's Steve Rogers? All of these things was going on while everyone knew that Anthony Mackie was going to be taking over the role of Captain America. So instead of the hype for Sam taking over the role of Captain America, then was where's Steve Rogers? What does Steve think of all this? Why hasn't Steve shown up? Marvel might think that they can just replace these characters at will and it just be fine. But I don't see how that's going to work going forward. They have a lot of shows that's coming up, a lot of movies that are coming up in Phase 4. None of those are really that great or bring excitement. Does anyone want to see Black Panther 2 without Chadwick Boseman? I don't. I almost kind of think it's kind of disrespectful that they're going to try to do one without him. Look, Chadwick Boseman was Black Panther. You take Chadwick Boseman out of that, you might could try to replace him with, I don't know, Killmonger or something along those lines. And you might could get fans to, accept that to a certain extent. But Chadwick Boseman made that part. He made Black Panther into a success. It was his great acting that did that. Because he's another one that just like Robert Downey Jr., we give him the credit. I give him the credit at the beginning of this video of, if you put anybody other than Robert Downey Jr. in there, you probably don't have a MCU. Same can go with Chadwick Boseman. Chadwick Boseman made Black Panther. You take him out, I don't see how you're replacing him. Now, I wasn't a big fan of Black Widow, but you know what? Black Widow is something that is someone that fans related to and enjoyed. She's dead now. Of course, we're making a Black Widow movie, but at the same time, I'm like, where does that go after that? It doesn't go anywhere, is where it goes. Not unless you want to just bring them back from the dead, and that would kind of feel a lot like Dragon Ball Z, wouldn't it? If you went and you did something along those lines. And does anybody want to see Jane Foster as Thor? Come on. People watch that for Chris Hemsworth. You take him out of that picture, you get half the audience is gone right there. Yeah, that's just the truth. That's just how things work. People love him as Thor. I'm not a huge fan of Thor personally. It's funny. I really love his character in the comics. And I love it in various different cartoon forms, but I just never really got into the movies that much. But that being said, I don't want to see a movie without Chris Hemsworth. Or one that where he doesn't take on the big brunt of the movie as Thor. I don't want to see that. So you got that, and then another thing that this article brought up was how the Hulk really turned from this this juggernaut to this intellectual that just really isn't that interesting or funny or anything at that point. So you've got that. So just to repeat the things I've said: Tony Stark dead, Black Widow dead, Steve Rogers in a retirement home or possibly dead, the Hulk turning into an intellectual, passing of Chadwick Boseman. I'll tell you the reason where I feel like they have a great job or a great chance that they can change this. Because Phase 4 I think is going to be an epic failure anyways. No one's going to see Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. No one's going to go see Eternals. If those movies don't even get allowed in China, then you might as well just throw those out the window because they're not going to make any money. So, they're going to be epic failures. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is going to be a hit. It just, without a doubt, is going to be a hit. And I feel like, WandaVision added to that to a certain extent of making that something that makes fans want to see more of it. But you know what? She can change reality. This whole thing with the multiverse, they could just change reality, reboot in a natural way everything that was going on in the MCU. Start again, kind of make it a little bit fresh and new, and just make another run at it. They can do something like that because the MCU is based off of comics that do exactly the same thing. When it gets old and boring, well, then just change it up a little bit. Now, sometimes in the comics it doesn't work, and sometimes it kind of feels like it's forced. But you know what? I feel like, with movies like Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, I feel like they could do something. They could change something that either puts us in a parallel dimension where that we get to see up and coming, Spider-Man. Um, um, we can see what Miles Morales and all these different little things in the multiverse. Um, you know, let this world die basically, and just continue it on with the multiverse. I think that's a really cool way of including the multiverse into this whole thing. I mean, change it up, do something different, do something that's groundbreaking, something that, hey, certain fans might hate, but you know what? I think they would come to love it because I just don't see the MCU getting any better. Phase 4, I feel like is going to be a disaster for the MCU. Um, I don't think anybody is like, oh man, can't wait till I see that Eternals film. No, that movie looks like garbage. That movie looks like hot trash. It is bad. It is going to be a disaster of a movie. And it's got a star-studded cast, but that ain't going to save that movie. That movie looks bad. And I can't say Shang-Chi and the Legend of Ten Rings really gets me excited either. So, I mean, there's a lot of movies. You can say Black Widow's interesting. But, come on, guys. I feel like if you want the MCU to continue, we're going to have like, maybe this soft reboot. Where that, we change things up a little bit. That would be a good way to add new people to the characters that we already know and love, while also not angering fans, not making people compare them to the previous ones or longing for the previous ones because it's in a completely different universe. So I feel like that would be the best way to end the MCU. Probably not going to happen simply because of a money agenda when it comes to the MCU. But you know what? Overall, guys, I feel like this would be the single best way to end it. That's the way I feel towards it. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments below. Do you think the MCU should die and maybe be rebooted into something that is different? Telling the same stories in different ways with different characters. Because, hey, a lot of the characters that we know and love, they're gone. They are gone. And they're not coming back. So, yeah, I feel like there's no better time than now to do it. Because I think once they get past the multiverse of magic, I feel like there's not going to be any good reason to do it at that point. But, guys, let me know what y'all think. Do you think that the MCU should be rebooted? Do you believe that the MCU should just die? Let it go out on its best leg. Not going to happen, probably. Marvel makes way too much money off of them. But let me know what y'all think. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Y'all take